Everyone. Let me pull up my screen. Sorry. Okay, can you see that all right? Anybody? Let me know.
Yep, looks good.
Okay, great. Yeah, so my name is Kylie Tavares. I am an extension agent on the Big Island, and I'm based out of the Waimea office. And we're just going to go through some quick updates on our turmeric project. So if you've been following us and this work for a bit, this won't be new information, but for anybody who is new to turmeric or who wants to learn a bit more, I'm just going to go through some basics. So way before turmeric became a superfood and gained mainstream popularity, it's had historic importance. So flavor, of course, medicine, dyes, and for religious ceremonies, as well as an ornamental, because the flowers are very pretty, as you can see. And the turmeric industry in Hawaii has been growing pretty steadily and rapidly. In 2016, the farm gate value was $6 per pound, and the industry value has doubled from 2016 when it made its first appearance in the HDOA statistics when it was valued at $660,000. And most recently in 2018, it was valued at $1.21 million. But unfortunately, the local market saturates very easily. And so growers are having to increase exports and look for markets elsewhere. And there is demand for that, as well as looking at various value addition products. So you can see there's turmeric paste, turmeric powders, and dried turmeric. And if you are unfamiliar with turmeric, it is like ginger, a seasonal crop. So typical time frame would be from April or May to February or March of the following year. And sorry, I'm going to run through this quickly in the interest of time. Turmeric is nice because it has relatively low pest pressure. And the typical yield and what you should expect is about 2 kilograms per plant. So that's 2 kilograms of the marketable rhizomes. And that is what we've been seeing in the statewide trials that we've been conducting. And that's comparable to what the expected yield is reported in literature. But in addition to yield, there are other attributes that are very important to turmeric production. And primarily, we're talking about the curcuminoid content. And so that is the other part, major part of the work that we've been doing as a team with turmeric, is understanding which varieties have the highest levels of this medicinal compound that makes turmeric very valuable and popular. And I'll turn it over to really quick to talk about some of the Waimanalo specific updates.
Okay, so for the harvest this year, and we unfortunately didn't have a chance to have a turmeric field day as we typically do each year, and next year we're hoping it's going to be different, and so we're looking forward to that. We've been focusing on curcuma longa, the turmeric of market, the orange flesh, and Roma, which is a variety that was brought over from India back in 2018, has consistently been out yielding a number of the other varieties. Hawaiian Red and BKK both were introduced to the market by Puna Organics and Biker Dude. And the Hawaiian Red has been the industry standard. BKK, although the yield is consistently low, it is an extremely high curcuminoid producer, and so they are, previous results that we've presented and have published are close to 9% curcuminoid content dry matter, which is almost double what the market average is. But unfortunately, it is a very low yielder. So it's used for very specific niche markets. But for the fresh market, Roma is a real nice one. We have some of these numbered varieties that are coming from different parts of the world, and they're showing some promise. Olena here is the name of an accession that was gifted to us years ago, and it's actually an Indira type yellow flesh that's used mostly for the powder and curry markets, but it is a big biomass producer. But we have been distributing Roma, and we do have some material, and we continue to recommend Roma as a new variety to try for those who have not tried it yet. It's also a fairly high curcuminoid content, equal or higher than Hawaiian Red and the others, and only BKK is higher in curcuminoid content. Let's see, is that, oh, can you, next slide, please. Thanks, Kylie, I was trying to advance the slide. Is that yeah, there we go. And so we've been doing some different things. We're spending more time focusing now on species. And so this year, in the early 2022, we'll have some more information on some of the various species, different colors that we're hoping to pursue, characterization of some of the secondary products that are in some of these different species. But we're also now looking at curcuma longa, or traditional Olena, focusing on system development. We're working closely with growers, including Aloha Turmeric, who's looking to develop systems where we can produce consistently in small areas, because most of our growers don't have a lot of area to rotate, and are looking to produce turmeric every year. So utilizing concurrent, and next slide, please, Kylie, if there's one more. Let's see. Is there another one?
I just changed it.
Okay, thank you. It's it'll show there's a little bit of lag on my end. So I don't see it yet. There it is. And so, we're looking at growing concurrently, these strip crops of cover crops. We're looking at multiple species combinations, and we have a master student who is looking at kind of identify some of these combinations that'll develop biomass to blow into the alleyways for real-time mulch production, and then create a soil health protocol for the in-between rows, so that the turmeric can be moved over in alternate years into these row areas. So we'll look to see. Right now, there's not a lot of disease pressure on turmeric, but as it continues to be grown intensively, we expect to start to see a lot more disease. So we're trying to proactively design systems that mitigate that. And I'll turn it back over to Kylie.
Thanks, Ted.
Sure.
So kind of following what Ted said, and thinking about disease pressure and increasing our turmeric production as a state, and being proactive, we've included turmeric into our clean seed program, which started with ginger. So like Ted mentioned, it has relatively low pest and disease pressure, but this is a very nasty looking photo of some turmeric that was harvested from one of our trials on Maui. And this trial specifically had very high infestations of root knot nematode, as well as Pythium and Rhizoctonia that were recovered. And so it's going to be very important that we all, as we continue our research and as you farmers grow turmeric, to start with clean seed material. And so we want to develop protocols for this growing industry to be prepared. So we're taking some notes from the ginger clean seed program, like I mentioned, and the ginger project was developed to grow clean seed for a management strategy for bacterial wilt. Right now, we don't have any, or we haven't had any bacterial wilt in any of our trial plantings, which is good, but it is important to note that turmeric is a host of bacterial wilt, but it is a pretty hardy plant, and so it's relatively tolerant to diseases. But these same methods, if anybody is familiar with the bacterial wilt-free ginger grown in pots method, can be applied to manage other plant pathogens that can spread via the water, soil, and our tools, or potting mix and our pots. And so the basics are to use treated seed material. So the conventional method would be a 10% bleach solution. And for organic growers, you can use Sanidate, which is a peroxyacetic acid product. Also using soilless media, so we're taking away the soil component and growing it on benches off of the ground or in a greenhouse, ideally, using clean water, which would be ideally potable, and then having a really strong cleaning and sanitizing protocol for our tools, our surfaces, anything that comes into contact with the ginger or turmeric. And then the last kind of piece of this would be batch testing the seed prior to planting it out into the field. So we planted a few of the varieties into the program in a greenhouse in Hilo. This was in June, so it's been a few months now, and this is a photo of the progress. So we hope to be able to share the protocols with growers and also develop clean seed. So that is the clean seed update. And I'll turn it over to Emily from Kauai to talk about her work over there.